Meghna, turn on your video. Yes, Meghna. Yes, perfect. Looking sharp. Go ahead, honey.
Let me just share my screen really quick.
Sure.
Can everyone see my screen right now?
Yes.
Okay, perfect.
Excellent.
Hello, everybody. My name is Meghna Kapa, and I'm currently a junior at Forsyth Central High School. My topic of my research paper is exploring the potential neuroprotective properties of green tea on Parkinson's disease. To be more specific about my area of study, I wanted to look into the impact of the EGCG polyphenol from green tea on mitigating Parkinson's. And the question that I really wanted to answer was whether or not holistic methods like drinking green tea could have an impact on serving those with PD in any beneficial way. The reason that I chose this topic is because Parkinson's is very prevalent around the world today, with it impacting 10 million people worldwide. But even with its prevalence, there's no cure for it right now. And because of that, many people can't afford things to help, like medicine to help it. So they'll look to holistic methods like drinking green tea that could help them. And I just wanted to look into the benefits overall. Here's some background before I go into my actual research. So Parkinson's is the second most prevalent neurodegenerative disease after Alzheimer's disease. And its symptoms come with psychological and motor symptoms, but I'm going to be looking more into the motor part of it. So it comes with tremors, stiffness, and bradykinesia, which is slowness of movement, which comes with every single form of Parkinson's. The cause for it is due to a lack of dopamine production from in the brain. And a big part of it is from Lewy bodies, which are formed through alpha-synuclein, which cause this abnormal movement because it stops the dopamine production. And before we go into it, I want to talk about what polyphenols are. They're natural substances that are involved in beverages like green tea. And I'll be looking specifically into EGCG, which is the one listed on the screen, the full form. Now I'll move on to my literary review. The two main places that I looked for articles were MDPI and PubMed Central. For MDPI, one of the articles that I really looked into that helped me a lot with my research was one regarding the in vitro implications of EGCG, meaning all the experimentation done that's in a tube. And then the one from PubMed Central goes more into the in vivo implications, like with mice, like real life mice. And that also looked into EGCG and its impact on alpha-synuclein to mitigate the impact of Parkinson's. Now I'll move into my methodology and my results. My method for finding all my research was just looking through scientific articles and journals regarding green tea and PD, and that's really what I searched up when I was looking for anything, and thankfully a lot came up about it. But mainly I found that finally that EGCG, that polyphenol in green tea, has significant impacts on reducing the risk in both in vitro and in vivo studies. And these are my results. So from the in vitro study that I looked at for this presentation, it talked about how the principal cause of cell death was the accumulation of Lewy bodies, which contain alpha-synuclein, and they're made up of alpha-synuclein. And in those with PD, some of the alpha-synuclein is contained in the mitochondria, where it suppresses complex 1 activity. And this suppression causes oxidative stress. And the oxidative stress causes the dopamine neurons to also be impacted, which results in like the stopping of that production. But they looked at, with tubes, they looked at how EGCG was able to prevent the toxicity by binding to the unfolded polypeptides of the alpha-synuclein and preventing their conversion into toxic aggregates. So the alpha-synuclein was just present normally, but not toxic. And for the in vivo study, it was mainly about mice. So it really looked at EGCG and how it was given to mice for 10 days. And I'll talk about MPTP because that's the neurotoxin that causes dopamine neurodegeneration that they implemented within these mice as well. And so after the EGCG was administered, they then gave each mice MPTP for another 4 days along with the EGCG to look at like the impact on the dopamine production, and they really found that it increased the dopamine production with the EGCG. And I want to go back to this slide because this shows you the data from that study. And as you could see with the lines that just have MPTP on the y-axis, it talks about how much dopamine there is, and there's way less, but in the line with the EGCG and the MPTP, there's more dopamine, and that just goes to prove that EGCG plays a big role in stopping that dopamine inhibition. And then my final conclusion was that going back to my research question about whether or not holistic methods like drinking green tea could impact those with PD, the answer that I found out was yes. And I really hope that my research could contribute to raise further speculation regarding this topic, and it could cause more experimentation to be done overall. And I really think that all my research combines these studies with both in vitro and in vivo to create like one place that you could come to learn about this. And then this is my final thank you. I would like to thank Dr. Varkey for helping greatly because I went back and I watched all the videos, all the sessions to learn more about Parkinson's and alpha-synuclein overall, and that helped a lot with my research. And then I'd also like to thank Professor Virgil because without his assistance or his one-on-one session, I wouldn't have been able to create this presentation as well as it was made. And he really made the process of writing my paper and finding research so much easier. And my overall experience is that this program taught me more than I thought it would, and it allowed me to further my passion for research and medicine overall. So I just want to thank everyone for helping with that. Yeah.
Awesome job, Meghna. You can stop sharing. Dr. Workey, a question for Meghna.
Yeah, excellent job, Meghna. Like you have taken like a very specific topic. I was not expecting this, but like I'm very glad to see what you have put together, and especially like going into details of how EGCG, would work and all. Just apart from the excellent work that you have done, just like a small comment that you can also look into how EGCG, in fact, when you're writing the final article, you can also add how EGCG binds to alpha-synuclein fibrils. If there are some cryo-electron microscope images, you can see if there are, or some data with respect to that. You will see some more interesting information about how EGCG can bind to synuclein and prevent aggregation, the process of aggregation, having that, like chart of monomer, oligomer, and this, and then EGCG coming and preventing. You can make that on a PowerPoint. That will be really cool.
Okay,
so, excellent job. And also like, what do you call, continue to, look deeper into what you have already found. So just another question. Do you know like what is the component of Lewy body? Have you looked into that?
The component of it? In all the articles that I read, it talked about how they were just made up of alpha-synuclein, or that just was contained about it, and I just kind of went based off that.
Okay, so Lewy body contains the aggregated form of alpha-synuclein. So it's already aggregated.
Okay.
So Lewy body is basically the effect of aggregation. So you can say it's not the cause for neuronal death.
Mhm.
Neuronal death happens prior to formation of Lewy body. So you can say that the aggregated form of the protein alpha-synuclein is segregated into the Lewy body, and then that's what like kind of what they call one of the indicators of Parkinson's disease, hallmarks of Parkinson's disease, presence of
Okay.
Lewy bodies. I mean, there are other like dementia with Lewy body, but like, yeah, good job.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you.
A big round of applause to Meghna. I want to remind you, we're talking to high school students, and everybody, amazing job. The very fact that you went through the program and are here to present, a big kudos. 2 questions for Meghna on the chat. Okay.